Hello everybody, it's Aaron. Welcome to another episode of Resonant Rise. Those red creepers are nasty. You probably just saw a clip of the last episode I was starting to record, and I went outside and there was a red creeper and they throw TNT everywhere. It's crazy. So I want to do Botania today. Before we do that, I want to show you why I'm not using Project E for regular resources. Since the last recording, it's been about 36 hours, and I've gained enough EMC to make all 5 relays, all the collectors, plus 54. And each one of these is worth just over 10 diamonds. So do the math on that. It's pretty OP depending on how you use it. I'm going to go ahead and make the red matter, dark matter, stuff like that. I'm not going to do most of that in episodes, but I'll show you what I've made, like the cool things like the Swift Wolf's Rending Gale or the Vulcanite Amulet or whatever. So I fixed this stuff. There are big craters everywhere. It's come to a point where I find myself not being able to function without the sojourner sash and the ring of magnetization, especially if I do any sort of manual mining. So I ran around this age. I got a bunch of stuff that we're going to need, and I want to get started on this. I'm going to do it as quickly as possible. I know we've done it before, but I need to do it, so I figure I might as well do it in an episode, just in case any of you are not aware how this works. So the first thing we need to do, we need to make a petal apothecary, which I think I've already made. I have. Here's the recipe. Any color petal, couple of slabs, and some cobblestone. And I usually put this thing 1 block below me because I can never drop the stuff right in it. So unfortunately, I think the only thing that'll fill this thing up is the Everfull urn, which is a Thaumcraft thing, and we can't make that. So what we're going to do here, let's make a little room. We need to make some pure white daisies. I guess before we do that, I should have a book and a sapling. Here's a book, here's a sapling. That will make the Lexica Botania, which I don't really use anymore. I do need to look up the Black Lotus that I found because I have no idea what that does. So we're going to make some pure white daisies. It's 4 petals. You put your seeds in, you get your daisy. And what we need to do with these, we need to put them out somewhere. We want to put them 2 blocks apart. And then what we're going to do, we're going to put some oak wood all around them to make some, I think it's magical wood. I don't remember exactly what it's called. It'll take about a minute. Then we're going to do the same thing with stone to make, oh, it's living wood and living rock. That's what they're called. So we're also going to make a couple of chests to put over here, just to keep our stuff, because you do end up with a bunch of flowers. And I ran around the mining age, found a bunch of them. Some you need specific colors and some you don't, but I grabbed the first ones that we're going to need because I know we're going to need them. So while that is making, what we're going to do is we're going to make some day blooms. And when you make these flowers, any seeds will work. I was actually trying it out with the seeds from Pam's, and they all work just fine. So we're going to make day blooms, which gather mana from the sunlight. And how we make those is we put water in our petal apothecary. 2 yellow, 1 light blue, 1 orange, and then seeds, we get a day bloom. And I'm not done making those, but our living wood is done. So I'll go ahead and harvest that, and then we'll put down the smooth stone and make the living rock. And I have done some automation on that petal apothecary process, but it's not something that I've felt the need to do yet because I don't have a base and I don't want to set this up permanently yet because I have no idea where we're going to be. So while this works, I'm going to make some more day blooms. Okay, I'm done with the day blooms. We've got about 26 of them, which ought to do pretty well. So what we need to do is gather enough mana to make a couple of mana petals, and then we will be able to make some, I think they're endo flames, and then at that point we'll be able to make a ton of mana. So we're going to need a couple of mana spreaders. I'll go ahead and make 3 of them. Okay, 3 mana spreaders. And we're going to need to make the wand. I always forget about that. We'll make a pink wand. So we have just enough living wood left over to make the wand of the forest. We'll put this stuff away. So how we need to lay out the day blooms. They cannot be next to each other. Meaning like this. You have to checkerboard them. Okay, so this is the setup I'm going to use. We're just going to put our mana spreaders on top of the one closest to the middle. If you hover over your flower with a wand, it should say what mana spreader it's connected to. See, these show the little wireframe on that one. And these don't. So I may need to replace these. They will connect to the closest mana spreader they find. Okay, so those are all good. What we'll do, we'll put a pool, mana pool right here. We'll put this on bind mode. We'll point both of the mana spreaders at the mana pool, and then we wait. What we want to do is turn this into a regular mana pool. If you have it in your hotbar equipped and mouse over this thing, it'll give you a check mark if it's ready to go, and it is. So then we'll swap them out. The diluted mana pool hardly holds any mana at all. It's just the first step. And now this one's ready to go. Okay, I should have enough mana by now to make 2 mana petals, which is just a regular petal dropped in the pool. We're going to need a red one and a brown one. If you notice, there is some sort of blood magic integration. If we had a mystical red flower, we could put it in a blood altar and do some stuff. Haven't even started blood magic, so kind of moot. But we need a brown one and a red one. So we'll see if I have enough to make 2. It looks like I do. But not enough to make 4, but that's okay. So now we're going to put 1 red, 1 brown, 1 light gray, the red, and the brown mana petals, and that'll give us the endo flame, which makes much more mana. We'll put our 1 endo flame, and we're going to point this thing at the mana pool. So if we drop a solid fuel on it, we'll get a stack of coal. It'll eat one at a time. It'll make the mana. And like I said, it's much faster to generate it this way than it is with the day blooms. They're passive. I don't think they were meant to generate a ton. So now we can make another one. I'm going to make a couple more of these, and then we'll set up a little system to be a little more efficient, that we won't have to babysit all the time. Okay, I've got 2 more endo flames, and we could probably use a few more, but for now, I think this will do. what we're going to do is we're going to put these guys on the ground like this, and these two should connect to this guy, and these two are connected to that one. We'll make sure we're in bind mode. We'll send that mana spreader that way. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a pressure plate right there. Actually, we need to move it back. I discovered yesterday that these will react to a redstone signal. I was not aware of that. So we need to make a little space. And this might be a little ugly, but, you know, what are you going to do? When we have some resources, we can make it look prettier. Open crate. How do I make that? Whoops, I was close. Okay, so we need an open crate. We'll just put it right above that. We're going to put a hopper on top of it. And if you put anything in the open crate, it just drops straight down every time. No deviation like the dropper. It's really good for stuff like this. However, we don't want it to just go through, which is why we've got a redstone signal there. So I think we'll just do this with some sort of wooden contraption. And I've never done this without the Ender IO conduit, so we'll see if I get it right. Okay guys, I ended up just making a little redstone stairway. The basic idea is when something is on this pressure plate, the open crate stops dropping things. So these guys are all full right now, all 4 of them. So they don't take 5 minutes to run through a piece of coal or charcoal. So as soon as they're ready, they'll eat it, and the open crate will stop dropping the coal until these guys eat it, and then the last one will sit there for a minute, and then it'll start dropping them again. So it makes it a little easier to get a bunch of mana without having to manually throw it. You can also do it with a timer on the open crate. You can use Steve's Factory Manager. I've done it many different ways, but this is the easiest way to do it early game when you don't have, you know, a ton of resources. So it looks like we've got a little bit of mana in there. We need to make a mana diamond and some mana steel. I don't know how far we're going to get with this, but we'll see. Looks like I can make that. And I only got a few mana steels. 5. It might be enough to make a magnet. So let's see about that. We might be 1 or 2 short. So we're going to make the runic altar. And we're probably going to need another mana spreader for this. So we'll do that, and we'll just put it, say, right here, and we'll shoot it at the altar. So for the ring of magnetization, we need 4 of these and 1 of these. So we actually need 8 mana steel total. We're 3 short. But we can go ahead and make 1 piece of it, and then when we get 3 more mana steel, we just put them right here, and it's all good. Look at that, we can make them already. Excellent. So kaboom, there's our ring of magnetization. I can't put it on close to that because it'll suck up all the coal that's miraculously dropping over there, but you could see the thing works. If you're holding shift, it kind of deactivates it, and if you drop something, there's like a 5-second delay before it'll pick it up again. This ring can be kind of a pain sometimes when you don't want to pick everything up, but it does come in handy other times. So the other thing we need to make a sojourner sash. And how we make this, we need probably 7 more mana steel and some leather. So we have to make a couple of runes. So I need to go gather some materials, and hopefully we'll have enough mana to make mana steel and the runes by the time I get back. You can see this is the amount of mana that you need to make a rune. So it is quite a bit. Okay guys, I've got some mana steel. I went ahead and made it. And I think I got all the things we're going to need for this. We are going to need to craft a block of coal. And the smooth stone is not a problem. And let's just arrange this how we need to put it in there. So the way this thing works, if you just drop something on it, it starts floating. And I have a really hard time dropping stuff on this thing, so we'll see how it goes. So, of course, the mushroom didn't make it. Now we need to whack this thing with our wand. And you can see the little progress bar going around. Alright, now that it is totally full, we'll need to drop a living rock on the altar and then whack it. And we get our runes. And now we need to do the same thing for the other one, which is the 3 mana steel, carpet, string, and feather. Okay, now that that's done, we'll need to put another piece of living rock on the altar and hit it with the wand. We get our other runes. And now we have a sash. And this thing is really awesome. We can run faster, we can jump higher. So as a little bonus, I wasn't planning on doing this, but we might as well because we're going to need to anyway. If we make 2 brewing stands and a mana pearl, we can then make this thing. I need gold. I always forget what this thing is called, but it's really awesome. The alchemy catalyst. This thing goes underneath a mana pool, and what you do is use mana to turn things into other things. For me, the most useful thing is rotten flesh into leather. So we can just dump a bunch of rotten flesh in there. We get back a bunch of leather. And it makes it a lot easier. You can trade other things, blaze rods for nether wart, stuff like that, glowstone to redstone and vice versa. So this thing really comes in handy. So this video is going to get cut up a lot. I just record it all in once. From start to finish, it's about 43 minutes. So 43 minutes to make the alchemy catalyst, a sojourner's sash, and a ring of magnetization, which isn't too bad if I say so myself. Take into account that it's always day here in the mining age, and I've done this a few times, so I knew exactly what I needed and what I needed to do. Hopefully it helps you, but I just had to do this, and I know we've done it before, but I needed to do it again. Like I said earlier, I might as well do it in an episode. So next time we will get working on some sort of machines to do ore processing. There is a way to turn mana into RF, but in everything I've done, it hasn't been enough to run enough machines. So we may explore that again. I don't know. I want to make some thermal lilies, which I thought were supposed to be elven knowledge, but either that's false or we don't have that update yet. But it's an earth rune, which we have 2 of. We just made 3. The rune of fire, which we will also use to make the, there's an amulet, the Pyroclast pendant, sorry, that keeps you from catching on fire. But these run on lava, and they're really easy to automate, especially if you have an endothermic pump and an ender tank, which we may have in the near future. So that is going to do it for this episode, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them below as usual. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.